Hi, hi.
Hi, Ahad, how are
Your,
you?
I'm good. Your face is cut.
Okay.
If you can just adjust your
Oh, yeah, sure. I was just doing the adjustment. Yeah, sure.
right.
Is
So
it
how are
okay
you?
now? Okay.
Yeah, yeah,
I'm
yeah,
good.
yeah, yeah.
Oh,
All
yeah,
okay,
yeah.
all okay.
Good, good. Yeah.
So thank you so much for joining us in
Mm-hmm.
this first
Mm. Right.
unmasking the
Mm.
facade series.
Yeah, yeah,
We've been doing these webinars from what
yeah, yeah.
25th
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
of March. But
Mm-hmm.
now
Mm-hmm.
everyone is doing a webinar. Even my uncle is doing a
Mm.
webinar.
Mm.
So I thought let's
Uh,
do
uh,
something different. And
Different. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
like this idea. Okay, I think I need to adjust mine. Yes, I like this idea of um going live on Instagram. So I thought let's explore this.
Mm-hmm.
So here
Mm.
we are.
Mm.
So
Mm.
let's start. Let me
Right.
get this adjusted. I don't know how to change the setting. Right. Think. I think. Well, this is all I can do. So probably my neck is cut. That's
Mm-hmm.
okay. I think it's not about me
Yeah.
now. It's about you today. Okay.
Mm.
Let's
Yeah.
wait for a
Yeah.
minute. We'll get
Sure.
people
Mm-hmm.
to just join in and
Mm.
right. So let me see if I can. So guys, I'm going to disable comments so that it's not so that the screen is clear. So if there are any questions, there is a questions pane, so you guys can post your questions over there. I'll just disable this so that this is a bit clear. We can see him clear. Okay, so let's start. Okay.
Mm.
Uh, um, Okay, before we start,
Yeah.
it's just out of curiosity, how
Mm.
is your hair
Mm-hmm.
white? Do you dye it or what is it?
Good question. Right now in COVID, it's like even
Uh-huh.
more white
Right.
because all the challenges that have happened and there's no salon available. So I
Mm-hmm.
guess you just got to bear with me till
Uh-huh.
then. But yeah, so how to become white? Yeah, I mean, if you get
Right.
into aluminum and you're devoted to it and you're passionate, your hair just goes white.
Okay. That's interesting. Okay, so just give
Uh,
us a quick brief about
yeah,
yourselves to our audience,
right. Yeah, yeah.
about how you started Alufet 1984,
Mm,
and the journey
mm,
from there until now.
okay. So honestly, I wasn't really planning to make a career in facades. Might sound
Mm-hmm.
a little odd today when I'm after 35 years still in this industry. I'm basically
Mm-hmm.
not a engineer, and
Mm-hmm.
I'm from the marketing background. So I did my MBA from
Right.
Symbiosis, having done my commerce earlier
Right.
from Sydney and Mumbai. And
Right.
so I worked as a management trainee with Usha's for some time. And then my brother, as you know,
Right.
Naveen Keswani, who's a
Right. Right.
enigma by himself in this industry.
Right.
He set up a
Right.
company called Aluplex, and
Right.
I decided to join him and work together.
Right.
But then
Right.
after about a year or so, I felt because our it just if I had a chance, if I was on my own. And then I
Right.
moved out. So I thought, where should I go? And I was thinking in India, let me check out Delhi, Calcutta. And I went to all the
Right.
cities,
Right.
including Chennai, yours
Right.
truly. Right.
Right.
And then my final stop was Bangalore. And
Mm-hmm.
somehow this was the pit stop for me.
Right.
Just came out with 5,000 bucks in my pocket and then started life out here in 84.
Right.
And God has been kind, got some good orders, breaks
Right.
after about a year's time. And one thing led to another, and now we're at 500 crores. So
and
that's
and and
another
and, and
game plan. Yeah.
mashallah,
Yeah.
as we say.
Yeah.
Okay,
Thank you. Thank you.
so
Right.
so so
Yeah.
you met your wife also
Yeah.
over here in Bangalore,
No, I was dating her in
right?
Mumbai,
Right.
and so when I was moving to Bangalore, the question was that I was just about 23 and a half, and I
Uh-huh.
was coming here to set up operations, and
Hmm.
it didn't feel fair to leave her in Mumbai,
Right.
and she was in a hostel. Her parents were in Delhi,
Right.
and so I said, "Listen, there are two options that I have in
Hmm.
front of me. One is that either I go to Bangalore, set things up, give me a year and a
Right.
half, and then I come back to
Right.
you, or
Right.
right, or sorry, that stand
No
just went off.
problem.
Right,
It's
okay.
this. I'm gonna
So
have
I
the same
said,
issue also.
so I said, oh, the other option is that I could just we could get married and then you come, but then the struggle's going
Right.
to be right from day one.
Right.
And the girl that she was, she said, listen, I'd rather come and struggle with you rather than,
Right.
come when it's all ready. So she came
Right.
with me, and
Mm-hmm.
it's like literally we moved to Bangalore together. I
Mm-hmm.
came to Bangalore in June to look out for some spaces, and
Right.
it took me about 2 months to find a place. And
Okay.
then I could find a factory and a house and everything. And once I
Right.
got it, I took the next, train out to Bombay and came
Right.
back in 7 days with her. Went to
Wow.
Bombay, we went
Okay.
out from there to Delhi, got married, came back to a reception, all
Mm-hmm.
that. And in 7 days, we were back in Bangalore.
Right.
So that's how we started out literally from scratch. And
Right.
yeah, so it's been a nice journey. It's been interesting. And,
Right.
uh, the,
So one of the questions which I wanted to ask was, when you were 2000s, when a lot of glass buildings were coming in India, you
sorry,
had
I didn't get the
to.
question. Sorry, I didn't get
Right.
that
No,
question.
I said
Sorry.
when
Yeah.
you, yeah, when you were in your peak, let's say early in the 2000s, where a lot of glass buildings were being built in India,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
one of
Mm-hmm.
your
Mm-hmm.
major competitors was Permastilisa, so they came in
Correct.
with a big brand
Mm,
reputation. They had
mm,
a lot of
mm,
technical
mm,
know-how, processes, a lot of systems in
mm,
place, but they are no more, and you're here. So, what would
mm.
you say that you did right, and they couldn't, because this is something which is very
Mm,
important, for entrepreneurs
mm,
in India. You have a lot of
mm,
large
mm,
multinationals coming in
mm,
against
mm.
Indian companies. So, what do you think you did right in surviving, or probably fending off your biggest competitor?
Uh, see, I think the challenge in India is really understanding people. It's the relationships that you build,
Right,
and it can't be,
right,
a very straightforward, uh, how do I put it? Cut and paste kind of
right,
game, right? It can't be very rough,
right,
right? So
right.
you've got to understand that, now your client has a problem and he can't pay you,
Mm-hmm.
right? You can't
Mm-hmm.
just say, I'm stopping work tomorrow because you haven't paid me, right?
Okay.
And I think a lot of our fabricator friends do this thing, thinking that,
Mm-hmm.
they'll stop the supply and the money is going to
Right,
come in. But I think,
right.
no one, at least in my experience and what I feel and I believe in, is
Mm-hmm.
that no one's bad. Everyone
Right,
wishes to pay, and that's why they're doing business, right? No one's here to
right,
take you for a ride. And I
right.
haven't found that in my 35 years of experience. There could be an
Mm-hmm.
odd guy. Maybe if
Mm-hmm.
I if I've done 1,000 projects today, maybe I could say three of them. But what is three
Right,
out of 1,000? Right?
right,
997 have been brilliant. And
right,
all these 997, some of them have given me 50, 60 projects that I've done with them over the years. And they all want to pay. It's just that at
right,
times,
right,
we all have challenges, right? You over leverage. Sometimes some money hasn't
right,
come. Sometimes residential sales are poor, and then you don't have money to pay, or commercial
right,
isn't doing well. You haven't leased your
right,
building. So that's where he needs your support.
right,
And if you lend him that support and
right,
it's okay, right? He'll just come back to you, right? We make this cardinal mistake of keeping counting everything and saying, you
right,
pay me and then I'll do it, and after 1 crore I can't give you more credit, or after two
right,
crores, that's it. But
right,
I don't know. We work with 10, 8, 10, 12, 15 crores. We give credit to our good customers, right?
right,
We don't never shy back. We have our own credit limits at the bank, and we work with it.
right,
And when it
right.
gets really tough, then we just go
Mm-hmm.
back and say, listen, can you just give us 5 out of 15, and then we can manage, right?
Right,
And I think that's where Thomas Elisa made the mistake, right?
right,
They just felt that every one thing has to be done. You've got to pay, and you don't pay, I'm not going to work. And they
right,
felt that the Indians are not going to pay, so they decided to
right,
close shop, right?
right,
So, like they say, once someone's food is another man's poison, or someone's poison is another man's food.
right.
So, we just happened to be at the right place at the right time. They left, we grabbed the opportunity, and you
Mm-hmm.
know, catapulted our business from there.
Right. So it brings me to my next question.
Yeah.
Owner-led business versus employee-led business. It's very
Mm,
successful globally, but in the
mm.
facade contracting field in India, do you think a company can survive if the owner is not involved? I'm talking only from a facade contracting point of view.
See, what happens is that it's not about owner-led as against employee-led. I think it's more to do with the culture
Right.
and the way businesses are led
Right.
and run. Yeah. For example,
Right.
we all identify like in this construction industry, right? When you speak
Right.
about Lodha, you think about Abhishek Lodha. When you speak about
Right.
Oberoi, you talk about Vicky Oberoi.
Right.
Prestige has got Irfan Razak. Embassy's got
Right.
Jitu. And
Right.
RMG's got the two brothers, Raj and Manoj.
Right.
So
Right.
every industry, right, is somehow defined by its
Mm-hmm.
leader, right?
Right.
And that leader could be, it just so happens that, all these businesses are owner-led businesses. But
Right.
in L&T or in Saint-Gobain, you don't really are looking
Right.
at and saying that is this an owner-led business, right? It's an
No, it's not.
institution,
Right.
right?
Right.
So how you institutionalize it is the point, right? Right?
Right.
I can't be fooling myself that I'm going to live on forever, right?
Right.
There is a way, and
Right.
if I don't find my kids being interested in the business, then
Right.
obviously, the next step is to develop a team within you and
Right.
have a handover
Right.
system. So we've also got a
Right.
program with the next 5 years wherein we have a handing over plan, right?
Right.
So where I
Right.
would be, more on line
Right.
or different because once you move with the times,
Okay.
right? And they have to make the mistakes, they have to learn from there. Yeah?
Right.
They have the experience of the 35 years that I've got,
Right.
and they can always, use
Right.
that as the base. And if at all, let's say they screw up,
Right.
so did I screw up, didn't I, when I did
Right.
my business, right? So they learn as they
Right.
go along.
Right.
Yeah, at that time, the mistakes were
Right.
smaller, they were easier to absorb. But then the company was also smaller.
Right.
So if I made a mistake of 10,000,
Right.
right, when my turnover was, let's say, 50 lakhs, it was a big amount. So if they make a
Right.
mistake of
Right.
1 crore and the turnover is 500 crores, so it's okay. I mean, you've got to take it with a pinch of salt and they learn from there, hopefully.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Well, this was actually my last question,
Yeah.
which I actually wanted to answer, which you answered now. Who
Yeah.
next for Alufit after Pankaj Keswani? But you answered it
I'm
now.
not
Okay.
giving you names, but let's just say that we have a very
Well,
solid
this was
team.
supposed to be my last
Yeah,
question
yeah,
when
yeah,
I was
yeah,
going to ask you, but you answered it
yeah,
now.
yeah,
But
yeah.
right.
Yeah, so we
Okay.
have a solid team, right?
Right.
And cometh the hour, cometh the man.
Right.
Yeah, right.
Okay.
So
Okay.
we'll wait for it. Let the time come.
Okay.
You never know. You
Mm-hmm.
have some late
Right.
bloomers. Yeah, you have some
Right.
surprises.
Right.
Right. So we've got like I said, we've got a plan as to how to, how I'm going to let go, how I'm going to start,
Right.
giving, from a more direct operational role to getting into a
Right.
more, advisory and to a more managerial role. And
Right.
some of the plus points of COVID, right, has been that we're
Mm-hmm.
talking offline, right? So,
Right.
what we've been always trying to do is trying to tell customers, do you really need me to be there, right? I
Right.
mean, why do I need to come and meet you to sign a contract? I mean,
Right.
just to shake that hand, we can do it, over a video conference. And then when I'm
Right.
coming next to Mumbai or Delhi, we can come and, meet up for a cup of
Right.
coffee. But everybody thinks, nahi, tum aao, ab bhi aao. Only then business can happen, right?
Right.
So I think at least with this changes would come in, and
Right.
we would be able to see this change in
Right.
future. And
Right.
I don't need to travel so much, so it makes life so much better, right?
Right.
Yeah.
There's a general saying in the industry that Pankaj has been a very lucky guy. He's got the chunk of the Bangalore IT commercial projects, which were fast track projects, which were built to suits. So you have a client waiting to occupy it against a developer. Develop project where he builds it and then looks for a buyer. What would you like to have to say about that?
Well, I didn't stop anybody. It's a free country, right? I
Right.
didn't.
Right.
I'm not a Bangalorean. I wasn't born in Bangalore. My first
Right.
24 years were in
Right.
Mumbai. I just came into the city
Right.
overnight. I didn't speak a word of Kannada. I
Right.
still speak very little Kannada. I speak better Urdu than Kannada,
Right.
right? Having come here,
Okay.
but
Right.
yeah, but so I'm not a son of the soil. But we've
Right.
made business. So if you feel that you have it in you and you can deliver, right, then please
Right.
come, right? And
Right.
it's not, and every city and every country, I mean, in every country has its ups and downs. So
Right.
if you say that Bangalore, it's been lucky, it's been the IT, well, now Bangalore is doing, not as much as what Hyderabad is doing, right?
Right.
So at each time, then suddenly Pune had taken over. So there
Right.
was a time when only 10% to 20% of our revenue came from
Right.
Bangalore. The rest
Right.
of it came from outside. We were doing
Right.
TCS in Chennai, huge
Right.
project, over 150
Right.
crores. We
Right.
did the TCS in Rajarhat in Calcutta. We
Right.
did TCS Bhubaneswar. We went to
Right.
different places, different cities from
Right.
time to time.
Right.
So I think what we did was we didn't say no to an opportunity when it came. We didn't
Mm-hmm.
say, oh, Calcutta is 2,500 kilometers from Bangalore. How am I going to execute the job? All
Right.
right. And Calcutta is Marxist, Kerala is Marxist,
Right.
ruled, right? So, like we did work in Trivandrum, we done
Right.
work in Kochi, right? We
Mm-hmm.
learned about Atta Murray, we know everything, how to handle
Okay.
labor, what's to be done. So I'm saying we grabbed them. And now if you're in Bombay, for that
Right.
matter, right? We're doing 3, 4 brilliant projects there. We're doing
Right.
the ICC Island City
Right.
Center.
Right.
It's a
Right.
100 crore plus job.
Right.
We're doing Nirlon, which is another 85 crores. We're doing Four Seasons private residence,
Right.
50, 55
Right.
crores. And then we're doing Nirlon, which is another 80 to 100 crores, right?
Right.
And all this in a matter of 3 years, right?
Right.
Ever since we started operations in Bombay,
Right.
right? Prior to that, of course, we did Godrej BKC, but that
Right.
was when we didn't have a factory in Bombay. We
Correct.
sent these from Bangalore.
Correct.
So, I mean, it's what happened. I mean, the Bombay players or players from other parts of India, including from
Right.
Bangalore,
Right.
right, could have come and taken those orders, right?
Right.
What made me lucky to go and get those orders? I didn't do anything different, right? Yeah.
Right.
If at all there's an accusation, probably a wrong accusation about me, is that I overcharge. Right?
Ah, okay.
So I don't
Okay.
know whether that's
I
your
will.
question.
I have a
Yeah.
very nice question with
Yeah.
respect to that a little later.
Yeah.
So
Can I get some
I'll come
water?
back to your.
Water. Yeah. Sorry. Yeah.
I'll
Yeah.
come to your Bombay part. So there was a taboo
Yeah.
that Alufit has never done a high-rise building. You broke
Yeah.
that taboo by securing the 220-meter high ICC project in Bombay. So
236
why?
meters high.
Yes,
236
yeah.
meter.
Well, on the internet it's 223. So I'm
Okay. Oh,
going as
sorry.
per that.
I heard it as 22. I wouldn't correct you if it was 223.
No,
That's
no,
fine. It could be 10, 10, 12
223.
meters. Yeah. That's fine.
Right,
That's fine.
right.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
what took you so long to enter the Bombay market for the high-rise segment? Preparing for a landscraper versus a skyscraper. How different it is. You've been doing landscrapers, basically roll-rise, medium-rise buildings,
Yeah.
large-scale
Yeah.
IT buildings which don't
Right.
go more than 20 floors, 25 floors.
Yeah. Yeah.
So how did you prepare yourself in taking up a 200 plus meter tower?
Okay. So what happened really is that we were basically Bangalore based, right?
Right.
So after 2000, when really the structural glazing and curtain wall market opened up in the country and opened up in Bangalore,
Right.
we were so
Right.
busy over the next 10, 12, 15 years just servicing
Right.
the projects here. And we
Right.
also had limited capacity. We had only one plant till 2012, which was in Bangalore and Pune. And then in 2012, when Perma closed shop and went, we took over their unit.
Right.
Right. So we took
Right.
over the Hosur plant of theirs. And that's
Right.
when we took over the plant and they had just sent all the people home. Right. So
Right.
we recruited those teams back. They were already trained.
Right.
We took the same team back, and we had a brilliant, works manager then, who's now our vice president plant by the name of Gerald, who's a phenomena. Right. So he's
Right.
there. He brought the whole team. He's got everything, and he's put the whole thing together
Right.
in a beautiful way.
Right.
And that's how we could, we had the confidence that, okay, now we have additional capacity. Because when you have limited capacity, the last thing you want to do is, I'm not greedy, right?
Right.
There's a difference between greed and need. So
Right.
the Pina plant took care of our need, right? But
Right.
if I was with just one plant, which could make 50 panels a day, if I was going to try and cover the whole of India, that would have been incorrect, right? So then we put up when we took the Hosur plant, my Hosur plant can do
Right.
about 120 panels a day. So our capacity went up by almost 4 times. And now with the Mumbai plant that can do another 80 to 100, and we've also upped the Bangalore capacity to about 80 to 100. So now together, as a team, we can do anywhere between 300 to 350 panels a day. So suddenly our horizon changed that here we can now, do a much greater quantum, right? It's another story that we can't make 350 panels every day, right? Because it needs a lot of logistics and a lot of things together. And it needs, you're talking about whether the size is the same, is it simple, is it, 1x4, but we do 2.8 by 4.2 panels, we do granite panels. So obviously things change. So yeah, but we do make anywhere between all our 3 plants put together on a daily basis, anywhere between 200 to 250 panels. So now with that kind of capacity, we thought, why limit ourselves with just 1 or 2 cities? Why not, get in with into Mumbai and then pick up those high rises, and that's what we've done there.
So you're saying the capacity came first and then came the projects?
Yeah, I mean, then we started looking for the projects. See, the point is, what do you bring first? You build the I mean, if I'm going to try and aim for the moon, but I'm not even going to be able to, touch the treetops, it makes no sense, right? So that's what we did. We built our infrastructure. When we built our infrastructure, we went and marketed it, and we said, listen, now we are here, and we're here for for a long haul. And then we got Godrej BKC. And when we rang Godrej BKC, Godrej said, why don't you just set up operations in Mumbai? Right? We've got work, we'll give you, there'll be others who'll give you, who's done such a wonderful project here. And then we said, okay, maybe it makes sense. I mean, after all, Mumbai opens the gateway to the west, right? And we get, Pune, we get Ahmedabad, we got different cities that would come in. And that's how 3 years ago we came to Bombay and we set up operations there. And once we came, we got Nidlawn, Four Seasons Residences, Godrej 2, and we got a project in Pune 2 right now called Agile, which we're doing, a nice big 50 crore job. So 1.1 million square feet there. So, it just opened up a lot of opportunities for us, right? And yeah, so that's how it is, right?
Okay. And of all the projects you have executed, which you would rate as probably the most challenging one or probably the most difficult one, and why?
So in my long history, I mean, there have been so many, but if I had to rate something as the most challenging and the most difficult, I'd say the top-down construction, right? We did the Intel top-down construction, for Intel.
SR2, I think.
Yeah, SRR 3 and 4, right, which we did with Shapurji. And so it was done for panel closed. L-shaped. And, it was to be meticulously planned because it was only 18 days to a floor, right? And when I say a floor, means the whole floor had to be built from scratch. The steel structure, and then we had to put our panels, and the panels had to have not just glass, but including the shading elements in the front. So, and we had only about 4 to 5 days on the floor to do it, and then it would be lifted, and we had to, it's like, it seems very easy, like a James Bond movie, one goes and fits into the other one, but let me tell you, it's not that easy, right? So, because, and people who are fabricators will understand that, the floor, right, in 3 parts, A, B, and C, and A had 112 panels, B had 112, and then we had a middle bay which had 36 panels. So 112 is no easy, play. So we did that, and more importantly, it's the planning and the logistics. Because you can't bring it too early, you can't have it too late. If when I bring it there and 2 glass break, right? I mean, I'm holding up the entire lifting of the whole floor, right? So from that, we did a lot of research. We worked it all out, right? And maybe that's another separate talk we can do on. I don't want to take time over it, but in terms of challenges, yes, that was one of the most challenging that I'd say. Yeah.
Right. of all the architects you've worked with, who would you probably say who has pushed you to go beyond the boundaries to make sure that their design is realized the way they wanted it to be?
See, I don't want to. Every project by itself is a challenge, but I'm just being honest, right? Because and it depends on the time and the career in your life, right? When I started in '84, right? I mean, even a door window project was a challenge, yeah, right? I mean, how do you get that window right? Was the question. Do you have the right hardware? Can we get the right anodizing done? Right? I mean, right? Is it going to slide well? Are the rollers going to work? Are they not? So everything's a challenge. And so as you go along, sometimes when you do your first structural glazing job, how is that silicon going to work? How is it going to happen? And how the details are. So sometimes, like what I did now 20 years ago looks like left hand's play. But when you're actually in it, it's not the same. So I think each building has its own nuances and challenges. But if I had to name one architect who's been like a guide and a philosopher to me, I mean, I call him Godfather, and he's Mr. Thomas of TAS, Thomas Associates, right? Okay. So he's the one person who really truly believed in me and still does. So, I have a great amount of fondness for him. And of course, now it's being handled by Talaki-san, with whom also we share a very, very, very good rapport. But I mean, if I had to really say, of course, by having said that, we work with, architects all over the length and breadth of this country as well as overseas. So I think each building has been having its challenges, but to me, my godfather is T.M. Thomas. And Tom, if you're listening to me, I want to say thank you so much for all that you've done for us. Okay.
Right. Okay. When you started off, there were no facade consultants. Okay. Now suddenly you have facade consultants on major projects. Many of the buildings you have built have been built and been functioning very well without the need of a facade consultant. You have directly dealt with the architect and the client, and these buildings are working fine. So what do you have to, why do we actually need them, and what do you think they can contribute when a contractor can directly do it himself with the architect and the client?
See, I wouldn't say, you can't really say that there's no role for a facade consultant, because I think they play a very, very, very important role. Clients sometimes are not really familiar with, what are the specs that have to go in, right? And architects by themselves also look for guidance, because they're good in designing, right? They would know, okay, this is how it looks, but elevation wise, but does it work or does it not? Whether the panel sizes are okay, are they not? I mean, wastage of glass, details in terms of sizing, all that in terms of, joinery, in terms of floor ceiling, right? So as you go along, there are many challenges, and I think the consultants come and fill that role where there are, right? So it's not really in terms of hardware selection, helping them out, the new items keep coming in. And their guidance is of great help and great value, right? Today, none of our buildings or any of our projects are done without a consultant, right? 90% or 95% would be having a facade consultant on board. And I see the tremendous value that they bring to the table, right? So, so maybe really,
so it's
really very good.
So you mean to say it's helped you bridge the gap between yourself and the client, right?
Yes, because what happens is at times the client doesn't know what is right or what is wrong, right? Expected to know, right? After all, this is not his only business, right? He's not only making facades. He has to market.
Right.
You got.
Right.
Just one very crucial part. But if that's not right, so that face has to be for the right specs. But if the facade is all messed up, right, then nobody wants that building. It's leaking. It's giving you challenges. The windows are not opening. right? That's the biggest pain, and you
Right.
can't rectify it
Right.
tomorrow, right? So hence I try and
Right.
keep my face clean all the time, right? So yeah,
Okay.
yeah, yeah. Tell me.
2008, 2009, you did reverse integration by starting an extrusion plant. That didn't
Right.
go out very well for you, you know.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
what
yeah,
went wrong
yeah.
there?
Oh, okay. So I got over leveraged, yeah, and I was
Right.
like, you know how sometimes you'd say you're in the right place at the right time, and that's how it
Right.
happened to me in Bangalore. I came, to the right
Right.
place at the right time, but
Right.
in that time I was in the wrong place at the wrong time. Yeah,
Right.
I just when I set up,
But you set up a state of the art
yeah,
plant. I mean,
right,
Sapa took over it. It
exactly.
was one of the best at that time. That also didn't save you setting up a state of the art plant, which
No,
is
that's
still
what saved me
in good
actually.
condition now and still is supplying to majority of the.
Yeah, yeah.
Right.
So what happened is that I had to. We got into the crisis at that time. Just like how we have a crisis today of the COVID crisis. That was the economic
Right.
crisis. That was when the Lehman
Right.
Brothers collapsed,
Right.
right? And
Right.
when that happened, right, the whole
Right.
markets collapsed. So I had planned my
Right.
project during the time when we were doing very
Mm-hmm.
well. The markets were in full cry
Right.
in 2006, right? And that's the
Right.
time wherein we decided, and the dollar was at about 36.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
We were paying the advances and everything to all the for the machinery. But by the time the
Right.
machinery arrived 1 year later,
Right.
all right,
Mm-hmm.
the dollar had hit 50 rupees, right?
Right.
From 2007, 36, it became 50, 51 in October 2008. So
Right.
what we had planned, the budgets went completely out of gear, right?
Right.
And the
Right.
construction, the steel that was at 35 was now at 50. So we
Right.
got into a kind of a crazy scenario at that time,
Mm-hmm.
wherein we
Mm-hmm.
ended up paying what we had planned, suppose 70 crores. We ended up spending 90 crores to the plant. And
Right.
added
Right.
to it, I started the business in the peak of recession in February 2009, right?
Right.
And, we had taken and when the banks had told me that, we'll give you a holiday period, you can pay after 2 years. I said, who wants your holiday? I've got money, I'll pay you. I'm going to start. Business is good. We're going to, do it. So, but I didn't know I'm getting into recession, right? So
Right.
when I went in to them and I said, can we restructure my loan? They said,
Mm-hmm.
sorry, son, no restructuring. We asked you, right? There was a window up to 31st March. You've come to
Right.
us on the 5th of April. Now we can't
Right.
restructure. I said,
Okay.
what happens? So they
Mm-hmm.
said, well, what happens is that, you don't pay, you become an NPA. Don't become
Mm-hmm.
I didn't even know the meaning of NPA. And
Right.
that's when I learned I'm going to be a non-performing asset. And they take
Okay.
everything of mine back and then sell it,
Right.
right? At whatever price they could get. And I had bet my last dime on it. Including
Right.
my house, like you
Right.
said, sab daaw pe laga diya,
Ha.
to get it. I got
Right.
over leveraged. I had
Mm-hmm.
nothing left, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so that's what happened. We were, like I said, but then that was a crisis for us.
Right.
Thankfully, God saved us. And like I
Right.
always tell my boys that, I was, I was made to walk on the edge of a
Right.
mountain cliff. On one
Right.
side there was water, and the other side there was ravine.
Right.
And then I just happened to fall into the water and swim ashore, right? Because I could have gone anywhere, right? Had
Right.
I taken the wrong step and Sapa hadn't come at that time, right? So we would have been in trouble. And
Right.
Sapa, like you said, it was a state of the art plant. The only
Right.
reason they bought it was that they said
Everything
that,
was ready made.
yeah, they said we've been all over India, right?
Right.
And we haven't seen a single plant like what you have. And not just that, it just mirrors our plants that we've got 85 presses in
Right.
in 16 countries right now.
Right.
And when we come to you, you have the same press, the same anodizing line, and the same powder coating equipment that we've got and ours. And we
Right.
don't see any of this in any of the other plants. So we want yours at any cost, right?
Right.
So we love what you have. You built the best plant with enough planning, and we have 37 acres of land, everything,
Right.
right? However, it was not meant to be mine. It was never planned to sell. It's like saying a mother doesn't, carry a baby in its stomach for 9 months only to give it up for
Right.
adoption.
Right.
That wasn't
Right.
my plan. For me, I was the
Right.
mother of that project. And that
Right.
wasn't the plan. I wanted to have a stake in it. I wanted to keep, but God willed otherwise. And maybe that's why I could put all my energies now and focus on fabrication.
Right.
So that's it.
Okay. I'll ask a couple of questions on materials.
Yeah,
Okay. Which is the
sure.
material you think has, changed the course of the Indian construction industry over the years?
Are you talking about civil? Are you talking about
No, I'm
facades?
talking. We're talking about facades.
Okay.
So you can keep glass aside
Uh,
because glass is an
yeah,
easy word to
yeah,
use.
yeah. Sure. I mean, no, I think stone.
Right.
See, what's
Stone.
happened with India is that we are now moving into a lot of natural materials, right?
Right. Because
Okay.
of the fires and things like that.
Yeah, right. And also that, we have it in our own country. It grows. Sorry, we have quarries right here, right? Why are we?
Right.
I mean, it's like saying, you have an ACP panel that you have, which comes from Alpolic, right? That's got a marble finish,
Right.
right? And it costs
Right.
400 rupees a square foot, right?
Right.
For example, right? Okay.
Right.
Now, if I can give you true stone, 30
Right.
natural in our country for
Right.
350 rupees, why are you buying a plastic material that's costing you that much, right?
Right.
So, it's all moved towards natural materials when you see on your
Right.
building, right? Like we've done the Eco World campus in
Mm-hmm.
Bangalore for the RMZ group. I mean, we've done over
Right.
40,000 square meters of granite cladding, and
Right.
it's so beautiful. We've done it in a color called Prada Gold, and we've done two, three
Right.
different blocks there. Then we did Amazon with
Right.
over 47,000 square meters in Hyderabad, right? With something called
Right.
Ghibli. We're doing Paramount.
Right.
Now, these buildings which have stone have a different character to it by itself, right? The Four
Right.
Seasons Mumbai, for that matter, it's got stone and glass, right? So I think
Okay.
if one material that is defined, of course, there've been, like I said, so many materials that keep coming in, right? I mean, every day there's
Right.
something new. There's, Fundamax. There are these, not to take anything away from anyone. I'm just saying, but
Right.
if
Right.
you look at Indian, I mean, what do you want to see? You want to see more natural materials, right? Within
Right.
the glass and the facade. As it is, we look at this glass and we look at it saying, hey, it's such a foreign alien culture. This is not us, right?
Right.
So you don't want more foreign materials coming in, right? Okay.
Right.
So I
Right.
think stone is something that is redefined,
Okay.
right?
Stone. The usage of stone on a facade, to be more specific.
Yes, yeah,
Right.
yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yeah, yeah.
Right. Okay. I'll ask you some rapid fire questions. These are only
Sure.
one word answers. Okay. I've got 7 of them for you. Number one, your most difficult client till date. One word answers. I don't want any
I mean,
explanations. I don't want why. One word
okay,
answers.
skip.
No, no, skip is not there. Be a
You said
sport.
one
Come
word,
on.
you didn't specify, right? Okay. No, but I don't have a difficult client. I mean, if I'm not, again, being diplomatic, like I told you, 95 out of
Right.
1,000 projects, 3 projects. I don't even now remember. I forgive him who
Right.
had bad intentions. I mean, honestly, I don't carry
Right.
baggage. That's why I sleep so well, right? So I don't have a bad
Fair
customer.
enough. So I'll take.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I take that. But I never said bad. I said difficult. Bad is
Difficult.
different. I said difficult. Someone Pankaj ये ठीक नहीं है, वो ठीक नहीं है, इसको ऐसे करो, वैसे करो,
Sub
Not
difficult
bad.
है.
Nobody is
नहीं
bad.
hello. There's sub difficult है.
चलो. चलो.
Nobody's easy. Yeah, but yeah, okay.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
Everybody wants the
Everyone's
best at the end of
difficult.
the day, right? Yeah.
Right. One person in this industry whom you have learned a lot from.
Without batting an eyelid, Sharanjit Singh of GSC Glass. All right. Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. One competitor who challenges you right till the end. One word answer.
In India?
Well,
In
of
India?
course, India. You're only in
Okay.
India,
Okay.
right?
Yeah. True.
So,
Okay. Nobody really.
okay.
No one. I mean, honestly, all right, we have our market share, we have our
Right.
clients, and our clients,
Right. Right.
like I said, believe in us and we believe in them. So that's how it is, right?
Okay. Right. If there is one building in the world which you would have wanted to glaze, which one would that be?
London.
Did you hear my question?
I heard you said the
No.
Shard.
The Shard in London. Okay, the Shard in
Yeah,
London.
yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
the Shard in London. Okay.
yeah.
Glass or no glass? What do you prefer? A building with 100% glass or a mixture with cladding, punch windows, etc.?
Right. I think glass one element all over, right? Although it does depend on architects, there
Right.
is a visual thing. But I think if all buildings were only glass, right, then that wouldn't be the way forward. I'm not saying that a full
Right.
glass doesn't look nice. We've done Goldman
Right.
Sachs 3 blocks. I mean, and each block is outstanding, and it's only
Right.
fully glass, right? So I'm not taking anything
Right.
away, but I'm saying that if every building
Right.
on the street, right, looked with full glass, then it'd be only tomatoes all over the place, right? There wouldn't be any flavor to it,
Right.
right? Okay, so it's got to be
Right.
used well. If it's
And the
used right, glass is brilliant. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
right.
Sorry.
Last
Yeah.
question for you. An architect you admire the most? Globally, I'm talking. It could be globally Indian. It could be.
Okay. Okay. So an architect, I mean, as an admirer, we work with SOM, and I really admire the
Right.
way they work, right? We
Right.
work with a lot of international and Indian architects, but what I mean to say is that why
Right.
SOM? Because the amount that they get into detail,
Mm-hmm.
right? They get into detail as much
Right.
as a facade consultant goes into in their drawings, in their working,
Right.
in their systems and everything, right?
Right.
And so they're very, very, how do I put it? I mean, they're very, very, very involved, very hands-on, yeah. And
Right.
then so that kind of helps in a way, right? Okay.
Right.
So yeah.
Okay. I will take the last three questions for you.
Yeah.
Okay. So this one is, which is more convenient or probably something which you prefer, working directly under a developer or a general contractor under a design and build model?
By any stretch of imagination, directly with the developer, right? Okay.
Right.
We don't
Okay.
enjoy, because unless it's a very, very nice, contractor and the monies are guaranteed through the main owner, right? Then it's
Right.
easy, right?
Right.
Because we become the last priority then to be paid, right?
Right.
Our money is used for some other works, and then you don't get paid. At least this way, the
Right.
developer pays you, and he knows
Right.
what he's getting back in return. Yeah.
Right.
So I always prefer to have a one-to-one interaction, right? Whether
With the
it's even
developer
with
himself.
whether the corporates, right? Okay. We always prefer to have a one-to-one with them, right?
Right.
Like when we worked with TCS, all our contracts were through TCS. It was not
Right.
through anybody else.
Right. Right. Okay. A client once told me that I went to visit two fabricator factories. One was Alufit and the other one I wouldn't want to name. But Alufit's price is 8 to 10% higher than the other fabricator. As a company policy, we go only for L1. Okay. But what different we found in Alufit's factory was we found happy people, so it brings to my next question, so how have you been able to retain employees for so long? Considering our industry, the retention rate is very low, and you have people who are still with you from when you started Alufit.
Inception, yeah.
And you have people 30 years, 25 years, 20 years, and these are unbelievable numbers to get commitment from anyone in today's age, or probably even 10 years before. So how were you able to do that, and what? So this is something which I heard from a client directly. So it's not something which I cooked up, and was something nice. When somebody told me this, though of course I had nothing to do or influence his decision, but this is what I heard from a client.
Okay.
Happy people.
I think, okay, I think that question should be directed to my team, although
Right.
this is a one-to-one with us, because
Right.
only they can tell you why they are happy, right?
Right.
But if I had to probably go into their mind and understand why they are happy, I think because we have a very open culture, right?
Right.
I work as hard as them, right? It's
Okay.
not like a boss and a employee. I mean, I just turned 60 a month ago, right?
Right.
And I'm like the last guy to leave the office every day,
Right.
right?
Right.
Okay. And I don't take Saturdays off, half days, and say I'm going to play golf and, things like
Right.
that, right? Okay.
Right.
I think that, I should be the last man standing. I should be
Right.
there right with them
Mm-hmm.
anytime. And
Mm-hmm.
this industry is all about, right? Okay, a lot of them think that I set it up, now it's for them to take it and run the show, right?
Right.
And you do it. But we don't believe in that. I believe in being
Right.
with them and side by side and
Right.
together and working, whether it's night, whether it's 2 o'clock, whether we work on challenges. Every
Right.
Monday we have our review meetings barring this COVID time. Yeah.
Right.
And we start our meetings at 2:30 and they end up at 11, 12 at night. And everyone goes home smiling, right? And sometimes we don't
Right.
even have dinner because, everybody says, "Yeah, I'll go home and eat. Chhod do abhi kya snack khali hai na 7:30, 8 baje. Ab
Right.
full hai,"
Right.
right? And they're
Right.
all happy to be. I'm like saying, "Listen, can we wind up at 10, 10:30?" Then someone will say, "I have one more query. I have one question. Can we just close this? Can we do this?" Right? Okay. So they're just themselves. I mean, yeah, if my competition says I've been lucky, I've been lucky that, with a very nice
Right.
set of
Right.
people, right? I've got some great team, great boys,
Right.
some
Right.
lovely
Right.
human beings, and they've always been through thick and thin. Through our most challenging times, they were there with
Right.
me, right? And even now,
Right.
when we went through a good 10 years and through the COVID times too. So
Right.
we're kind of fighting it out side by side.
Right. Okay. And my last question, which I asked again in the beginning before I wrapped up,
Yeah.
who next for Alufit after Pankaj Keswani?
I think I answered that, didn't I? I
You
said let the
did,
best.
but
Okay, so
this
let me
was
just say
my
let the
closing question. I thought I'll ask
okay,
that once
okay,
again.
right. So let the best man win. Yeah,
Right.
there's no names right now. Yeah, and yeah, so we're a very open organization. Uh,
Right.
Everyone chips in, everyone does his job, right? And I think they'll find their own successor. Maybe I
Right.
hope I'm not required to come and put that casting vote. I hope it's a
Right.
unanimous decision, but and they'll
Right.
find their own leader, right? So
Right.
yeah, but having said that, I'm not running away anywhere soon. Yeah, I still
Mm-hmm.
have a few years in me. But like I said,
Okay.
every year I intend to hand over 20, 25% of the reins. So that in the
Right.
next 4 to 5 years, all right, the team's ready. Yeah.
Right.
Okay. So hey, now we take it forward.
Right.
Yeah.
Something which just came up, which was not planned. What do you want to say for future entrepreneurs who want to enter the facade and fenestration contracting industry? Do you think they can have it easy, or is it again cash flow centric? You need to
Mm.
be strong. Would you encourage them to join this industry, or would you probably say stay away? You need a lot of resilience to survive in the contracting field in India.
Okay, so very good question. I mean, see, I think you should enter this business if you have a passion for it, right?
Right.
Okay, or if you've got into it by accident, like what I did, but then make a
Right.
passion out of it, right?
Right. Right.
So you may not have dreamt when you were in school and college, like how we dream, we want to be a pilot or I want to be a doctor or an engineer. You may not
Right.
have thought about, being a facade
Right.
entrepreneur or getting into a facade industry.
Right.
But I think
Right.
if life has, made you a facade contractor, right, or you
Right.
are, then just
Mm-hmm.
put your best foot forward. I mean, you've got to have passion for it because nothing is told you, right, that,
Mm-hmm.
he's told you a lie.
Right.
P,
Right.
lose your. So,
Right.
but all
Right.
my, anyone who's younger, who's coming in, or who's still doing it, I want you to
Right.
be.
Right.
There's only one thing that I've learned, and that's being honest and sincere, right? You be
Mm-hmm.
sincere, you have your honesty, right? And everything else will be taken care of. But, we try and make shortcuts, right? You think the client's
Right.
already paying me so much, right? Okay, I'll just take the shortcut,
Right.
patli galli se nikal jaunga, right? किसी को पता नहीं है 1.2 mm 1 mm ठोक दूंगा अंदर, right? का ये axonobel powder के बदले market का powder लगा दूंगा. But I think, you know, at the end of the day, right? You got to answer yourself. Do you feel nice? Do you get up in the morning?
Right.
Can you see yourself in the mirror that I cheated someone
Right.
else, right? I
Right.
think if you've taken it at a bad price, you should still do it with the right material so that you teach yourself a lesson and say, listen,
Right.
I screwed up here. I took this, right? But next
Right.
job, I'm going to go back and ask that extra 5% or 10%, right? And that comes
Right.
to my point that why we are more expensive than the others, why we are that extra 5
Right.
and 10% more. Because, you know, we realize
Right.
sometimes we made a mistake, but we don't cut
Right.
corners, right? Maybe that,
Right.
that job has gone on a bad, but we go and make it up at the next time and tell the client, listen, we estimated this sheet at whatever, $63 per kg, maybe it was GI, but GI went to
Right.
72,
Right.
right? So now this time I'm costing at 78. I don't care. It might come back to 70. We'll make our
Right.
money there. We make up, we average out. So my
Right. Right.
to hell, right? And that's
Right.
you know, there's no stopping you. Right?
Right. So I'll take one question. There
Sure.
are a few here, but actually we are over time. But I'll just take one question. Can contracting be organized with some benchmark pricing so that we can have common contracting terms?
Sorry, can contracting be benchmarked?
Can contracting be organized with some benchmark pricing so that we can have common contracting terms? I think this is between contractors, you know, because you have different people quoting different pricing, and then, you know, one person trying to undercut another person. If I'm right, if I've understood it right.
Right. Sorry, I'll just put this on charging a bit in case I lose you. Right. Sorry. Yeah. Sorry.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. So I think it'd be difficult to have a common pricing strategy, right?
Right.
That's what
Right.
the point question is, that because
Right.
you know each one has a different set of costings, right? I mean, what
Right.
it costs me to make in Bangalore may not cost the same in Mumbai, right? And what it
Right.
costs,
Right.
let's say us in Bangalore and Mumbai may not cost the same in, let's say, Patna or in Ranchi, right? Because each one is a
Right.
different city and a different challenge to itself.
Right.
So you can't have, you know, one price across the board, right? There can't be a maximum retail price for that matter, right?
Right.
But
Right.
you know,
But you can be close, right? 5, 10%, 15%, but then you're having some projects 30, 40% difference. How does that work? Lower, I'm talking.
no, I know. You see, sometimes what happens, people get desperate, right? Okay, if you
Right.
take a
Right.
job just for the
Right.
sake of the advance, you know, you
Right.
think that I'm going to take this job, and at times you fool yourself saying that, you know, I'll find a way to do it at a lower price. I mean, it happens to the best
Right.
of us, right? It happened
Right.
to me many years ago when I was
Right.
going through a crisis. So I think this is something that you learn, right, as you go along, right? That there are
Right.
times when you need to keep your factory busy, and most of the time
Right.
people feel that, and they say, listen, I'm going to just take this job at any price, right? And then I'll
Right.
find a way out. But, you know, you fall flat on your face. I've learned through experience, right? Okay. That, you know, it can, more often than not, it sinks you rather than,
Right.
you know, you swim. So the thing
Right.
is, at least if you can take a break even, fair enough, right? But don't
Okay.
ever take a job and buy a job. It's just not worth it,
Right.
right? We walk
Right.
away from projects, right?
Right.
And, you know, I have my contracts team, and he tells me very clearly, sir, you can go best up to 5%, right?
Right.
Anything beyond
Right.
it is at your risk, right? Okay, we're not funding you, right? So if I want to take it at 1-2% lower, I can't go back to him and tell him, listen, I took it at 7%. He
Right.
said, well, you signed your own death warrant, right?
Right.
So, you know, so you have to be clear, right? And, you know, he says, okay, if you come 5% lower, we've got 5%, right? Okay. So you want to still work at 3 and there are contingencies and it goes up by 7%, then, you know, you only yourself to blame. So
Right.
one has to be very careful where that's concerned, right? And I think as long as you deliver, as long as you perform and you're not, you know, not available, right? This job
Right.
is, it's like a doctor on call. If anybody
Right.
told you and they felt that, you know, I can just, you know, give it away and somebody else can do it, forget it, right? You take
Right.
your eyes off and someone scores a goal, right?
Correct.
I take my eyes off my contractor, will go and pick up the job, right? So,
Right.
however much it might be, you still got to be on it.
Right. Okay. That's interesting. That's inspiring. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks for your time. Thanks for
Thanks.
being
Thanks.
our first guest at this first
Thank you.
Unmasking the Façade. These are things which I would have probably not dreamt of doing, but probably because of this COVID situation, it's
Yeah,
bringing
sure.
the digital
The
best
best.
amongst all of us.
Yeah, right.
So
Yeah,
thank you so
yeah.
much for your time.
Thank you. It's a pleasure for me to be here too. I
Our
just
next
hope it
guest
was.
is some.
Mhm. Ah,
Thank you.
Sorry, no, I was just saying, I just hope it was as
Sorry,
enriching
go
for
ahead.
the. I just wanted to sign off by saying I just hope it was enriching for the audience too who were listening to us, right? So I hope
For sure,
I did justice
we're
to their
getting a lot
time.
of feedback
Right?
also.
Okay,
So
okay,
that is good.
done.
And we'll
Okay,
also record this and share this across in other platforms. So thank you so much,
okay.
sir. Thanks for
Pleasure.
your time.
Thank you.
Okay.
Pleasure.
So, okay, ladies and
Thanks.
gentlemen, thank you for attending
Okay.
today's session.
Right.
The next session is going to be on Thursday with another interesting guest. So keep following this channel to see who that is. Okay. Thank you so much. Take care. Jai Hind. Bye bye.
Bye. Bye. Bye. Thanks.